One of the most important emerging areas for information governance professionals is social media. This video first addresses why it is important for information governance professionals, internal stakeholders, and companies, generally, to properly manage social media records. Then, we discuss when and how to capture social media content together with social media monitoring best practices. And, finally, we discuss methods for ensuring that your company can take a standardized and defensible approach to social media records management. Now, without further ado, let's go.
Best practices for managing social media business records continue to evolve and will continue to develop as records and information governance practitioners gain more experience with their management. That said, it is generally agreed that the effective capture of social media records requires companies to commit to a consistent approach. This approach includes developing standards for what records to capture, when to capture them, and how to capture them. In terms of what to capture, social media content that qualifies as a record must be captured in an internal record-keeping system, as the official record. In contrast, companies should designate the record that resides on a social media platform as a copy. In terms of when to capture content, companies should take care to properly determine the best time to import social media content into their record-keeping system. In practical terms, this means that they need to choose whether to either capture content before it is published online or after the content has been posted to the platform. Companies must also ensure that they capture complete records and that any records that they capture contain all relevant metadata. Metadata is generally defined as data about the data managed, such as sender and recipient information. This is true for both one-way communications such as an event post and those intended to generate interactive content from third parties. And, no matter what, when formulating internal practices, it is crucial for companies to solicit both input and feedback from clients and stakeholders. Finally, companies should also monitor original social media postings after publication. Once social media posts are published, companies should take care to properly import them into their electronic record-keeping system, ensure their ongoing update, and effectively manage follow-up and social media comments and feedback. Doing this is crucial for ensuring that all relevant content is captured and preserved as a complete record. Now, we will talk about some of the more practical aspects of social media records management. The following discussion sets forth a basic checklist of some of the major tasks that entities managing social media data must undertake in order to defensively manage these records and to ensure a consistent and orderly approach towards social media records management. First, and possibly foremost, companies should seek to establish enterprise-wide records management standards that are consistent with the requirements set forth in their retention schedule. This is an ongoing process and requires coordination across multiple groups including records managers, privacy officers, IT, legal, corporate real estate professionals, and risk management. Once these standards are established, the company's information governance point person or, in certain cases, an outside consultant such as a staff member from knowledge preservation, should communicate records management policies, procedures, and processes to staff accessing records. These communications must include specific instructions regarding the handling of social media records.
On a technical level, appropriate staff should also clearly identify all elements that constitute a complete social media record and associated metadata, assess social media content prior to its use to ensure that no information is communicated on social media that contains private, confidential, or sensitive personal or health information. Appropriate staff should also ensure that social media records are retained according to an approved and legally defensible classification and retention schedule and determine which records meet the definition of a record before deciding which social media content should be posted or generated. Then, tying everything together, it is critical to establish standard records and information management practices and conventions that ease the identification and retrieval of all records relevant to specific information requests. And, it is critical to communicate these standards to staff members who handle records. Finally, it may be important to emphasize the need to contracts management and procurement staff, following buy-in by legal, to ensure that they have comprehensive terms of service agreements that include terms related to the capture, export, and access controls that meet records and information management requirements.
Our staff at Knowledge Preservation has significant experience helping companies to manage their retention schedules. We also help clients create the policies and procedures that they need to ensure their effective communication of information governance standards and help them to implement effective records training methodologies across multiple company groups.
Contact us today to discuss how we can help you manage your social media practices to achieve compliant information governance. We look forward to hearing from you.